90% of the population, at least in
That's
America,
right.
our metabolism is broken and we're not being told that we're pre-diabetic. We're like right there. Many people are right there on the verge of diabetes, but they won't tell you that you're diabetic until the point where you are really diabetic and they get you on some sort of GLP-1 or an insulin needle for life because that's where they want people. They're there to make money. I'm not saying the doctors are bad. I'm saying the system is not, I wouldn't even say the system is broken. It's set up so that their pocketbooks and their checkbooks don't get broken.
Do you want glowing skin, healthy joints and nails without breaking the bank? Meet Native Path Collagen. It's a secret to your best self. Packed with grass-fed, hydrolyzed collagen peptides, Native Path works from the inside to boost your skin's elasticity, strengthen your hair, and keep your joints feeling great for all your adventures. It's really easy to build into your routine. You just mix it into your coffee, your smoothie, or water. You can even bake with it. It blends easily into anything. It's clean, non-GMO. It's even third-party tested to make sure there isn't any heavy metals or any other weird stuff in it. How clean is it? The label literally only has one ingredient, and that's a collagen. That means no fillers either, just pure, powerful collagen to help you look and feel amazing. If you need proof, Native Path has over 8,954 five-star reviews. They've sold over 5 million jars of this stuff. People really like it because they feel the difference and customers keep coming back. You can see why Native Path is America's #1 trusted collagen. And you can try it today. There's a special bundle offer where you get 45% off. It's not available with their regular website. You can go to lovenativepath.com/Sarah and save 45%. That's lovenativepath.com/Sarah and save 45% on their exclusive bundle today. Welcome to Business Game Changers. I'm Sarah Westall. I have Dr. DIANE KAZER rejoining the program, and we are going to dive into peptides even more. I'm telling you, this is one of the most exciting things I have covered in a long time because I am seeing amazing results with so many people out there, with myself. And I think this has been suppressed for way too long. And there are peptides that can help with almost everything that happens in your body. And it can help turn things around. Dr. DIANE is going to talk about that today. And we are going to put on a seminar on March 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern time so people can get answers to their questions. I mean, people keep sending me, well, now that I got it, what am I supposed to do? How do I take this? And so she's going to answer all that. And we're going to go through the most popular peptides that deals with the biggest needs that people have out there. And so I highly recommend that you go to that. I'm going to have a link below to that seminar. And, we've been talking about retatrutide, which is a next generation GLP-1 that not just suppresses appetite, but it burns fat. We're going to be talking about GH peptides, which helps you build muscle. We're going to be talking about Sloop, which Sloop is amazing. That's one that mimics exercise and it helps you build muscle. And basically in mice, in preclinical trials, they showed a 70% increase in endurance and a 40% increase in longevity. That's this exercise mimicker. It's incredible. It builds muscle. Now that was sold out. When I shared that with people, it was sold out across the industry. So that's going to be in stock in another couple of weeks. But I'm just so excited about this. So she's going to come on and talk about the details of this, what it can do, how it works. If you are interested in any of these peptides, you can go to sarahwestall.com under shop. I have a link to a bunch of them. I have a link to the general website. Now you got to remember, this is all research. I am not a medical doctor. She's a naturopath. She's not a medical doctor either, but she has many clients and she helps you on how to take these, what you should be doing. But I can't administer medicine. So, and either can this peptide company that will sell it to you, but you have to be your own doctor. So you have to learn what dosages you need to take, how you're supposed to take it. So that's what this seminar is about. March 11th, 6 p.m. You can learn all about that, how to take it, what things that you might need. And if you are interested in getting peptides before the seminar, I'll have links below. And remember to use the coupon code SARAH to save 10%. Okay, this is really exciting. I really hope you listen to this. Hope you keep an open mind. Like I've said, I've been hearing chatter in the pharmaceutical industries that this is kind of the holy grail of health. And Robert Kennedy Jr. said that peptides have been suppressed for way too long. So there is a booming market right now as people are starting to realize just how effective these really are. So hope you listen to this whole thing. And here is my conversation with Dr. DIANE KAZER. Hi, Diane. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, Sarah, good to be back.
Well, people love you, so I'm glad you're back. And we've been talking about peptides because, like I've said in the past, I'm hearing the chatter in the industry that this is the holy grail, that people have not been told about this. And we talked about Sloop, which is a new one. That's the nickname for it, Sloop. What is it? SLU something or other.
That's all,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah. But that's sold out. I mean, we've talked about it and then it's sold out across the entire industry from what I understand. And it's going to be back in stock in a couple weeks. So, and people are super excited about that because it's a mimicker of exercise. And if people want to watch that, they can watch the last episode we did on that. The other thing I want to talk about is I've been sharing Retatrutide with people because I've been using it. And I say that I've cut my dosage, and I want you to talk about this. I cut my dosage in half because I was seeing too aggressive results. Because I'm not that big of a person. I'm only 5'3". So I lost like 11, 10. Oh, I lost like 8 pounds right away. And now I'm up at like 11 or 12 pounds. But to me, it was just so aggressive, so fast. That was like in a week and a half. I mean, it was just like so I cut my dosage in half because for my frame, that much weight is a lot. And and so what do you think about that? Is it healthier to say, okay, I'd rather lose, take 4 months to get back to my weight than to just lose it all in a month? You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I totally agree. And if we actually look at what has made Ozempic and Wegovy and a lot of the other ones that are out there, Mounjaro, these are all GLP-1s, and you guys can go do some research on, what exactly is a GLP-1 like. And people are just randomly taking a drug without understanding, what is the mechanism of action behind it. And, they just hear people they lose weight. Oh, I'm going to do this medication because people are aggressively losing weight and nothing else worked, or they didn't want to stop eating the things that were making them gain weight. Or some people have thyroid disease or something like that, that they are not being taught by their doctor that you can actually overcome autoimmune disease. We'll talk about some peptides for that, literally to get rid of your autoimmune disease today. We can talk about that today. So people are jumping on the bandwagon because their friends or family had success. And the thing is that these doctors are pumping them too fast, just like you said, Sarah. And I experiment with every peptide before I talk about it on any show or with anybody, at least for 3 months. So I make sure that the peptide has been around for a while and that has been working for a while, that there's actually studies on it, and it's actually has purification. And a lot of companies, in fact, 98% or so of the companies that I see selling peptides do not have purification for certification of analysis that shows that it's free from toxicity. And that's not anything that the drug companies can say. They've added things to the peptides and then marketed it as a drug. And then they're really starting them off at macro doses, really high doses, and then having them increase over time whilst not addressing or monitoring the patient's movement patterns or diet patterns or sleep or stress patterns. That is the biggest problem that we're having. And that's why a third of them get off of it within 3 months or so. So it really should be done under the care of a doctor like myself, like we've been talking about, because you can have really great success if you're doing it the right way. So it's the dose that makes the poison or the success.
So when my instincts were, this is too fast. I want my body to just I mean, was the right one for me. I mean, I guess every person is a little different, right?
Sure.
But, but, uh, to me, I just think if you're losing weight that fast, your body isn't able to adjust properly. I know people in the comments are like, "Oh yeah, you're just trying to sell a weight loss drug by saying you had to cut the dosage in half because it was too aggressive." I'm like, "No, I really did." But to me,
Seriously.
I mean, honestly, but that to me is, I mean, because you don't have, isn't the losing the fat, getting this toxins out of your fat cells, and
Absolutely.
if you're not, because I don't know, am I detoxing enough? Am I getting enough water? That freaked me out. I mean, and plus, I don't know what it's going to do to my face and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys listening, you can just do a Google search for Ozempic face. And I mean, we're not here to shame anybody. I've seen people too aggressively with any GLP-1 or even Sloop, human growth hormone analogs. I mean, a lot of people, they just didn't have like any metabolism before. It's like 90% of the population, at least in
That's
America,
right.
our metabolism is broken and we're not being told that we're pre-diabetic. We're like right there. Many people are right there on the verge of diabetes. But they won't tell you that you're diabetic until the point where you are really diabetic and they get you on some sort of GLP-1 or an insulin needle for life because that's where they want people. They're there to make money. I'm not saying the doctors are bad. I'm saying the system is not, I wouldn't even say the system is broken. It's set up so that their pocketbooks and their checkbooks don't get broken. But that means that we get broken because nobody's looking at the root cause of why we're so sick, which is just like you said, Sarah, it's toxins. So when we take the GLP-1s or the human growth hormone, which is another thing we're massively deficient in, we make like 98% of it while we're sleeping, and most people are not getting enough rest. So when we start to activate our body with these peptides to make these things that our body hasn't made, GLP-1s are made in the gut. That's what determines if we're hungry, satiety levels, or if we feel like we need to eat more because we need more nutrients, or if we're just some pleasure center in the brain like dopamine needs a hit, right? When you start taking GLP-1s in a healthy way, and I'm not talking about the ones that you get from your doctor that have a lot of other things that are toxic on top of the peptides. I'm talking about the peptides that you take in moderation. Your body goes, oh, now we can get rid of the waste. Oh, now hormones are activated again. Oh, now my neurotransmitters work and I feel like a human again. I can think clearly. I'm not depressed anymore. I'm losing weight, but not at such an aggressive state that your body isn't eating. And that is a big problem, Sarah. We're seeing people way too aggressively start like on semaglutide. I don't even recommend semaglutide. There's much better ones like retatrutide. And I think that's the one that you're taking too, right? Is that what you
Yeah.
mentioned?
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah.
So the
What kind
semaglutide,
Go
people
ahead.
start like two, like the doctors, for example. And this might ring true for some of you who have been on let's say Ozempic. They'll start them on like 2 milligrams. But I don't get people up to 2+ milligrams until after about a month, and I start them on 0.25 milligrams.
Of retatrutide you do?
No, on semaglutide, but
Okay,
it's
I was
very,
gonna say because that
very
one I've
similar.
okay.
Yeah. So it's like, so do the math there. If the many doctors start their patients at 2 milligrams of Ozempic, and I'm starting people on 0.25, that's like, what is that? Of an eighth?
That's a
And then
lot less. Yes.
less because your body, if you take too many GLP-1s or if you're overprescribed Ozempic or any of these, then your body goes, I'm not hungry. And then you don't get the nutrients that you need or anything that your body needs in order to be a human. And this is where we're seeing deaths and major thyroid cancers and people who are super sick or they're vomiting a lot, they're nauseous. So there's a way to do this the right way, and there's a way to do it with pure peptides.
Well, and if your metabolism isn't working, because I have people, the comments I get are so mean, some of these comments, but I read them and,
Be nice, Sarah.
be nice to me. I'm trying. But anyway, so I'm reading these comments and some of the comments, people are just fat. They don't eat, they're just eating too much. They're lazy, all this stuff. But that's not true, is it? I mean,
Oh,
your metabolism, because I know with me, you can eat almost nothing and still not lose weight, or you're just always hungry because you're not getting the right nutrients because your body's just not processing the nutrients properly. You're not uptaking it because of the toxins in your body, right? There's
yeah.
so many issues that are causing us to have this problem.
There are, I'll say one more thing about that too, because it's not just what you eat. Even if you're eating a healthy diet, it is what your body is actually able to break down, to assimilate, to absorb, and to become a part of you, to use like little molecules and proteins and amino acids. Those are all things that are very important in your fat that you're consuming as well, so that your body can use those little building blocks to heal.
Hmm.
But if your body is not able to break them down because there's so many things down the chain that are broken, then your body craves more and it will end up just storing a lot of the toxins in the food, or the food becomes food for parasites. Then the body gets more parasitic and has a higher level of infection. Then the immune system gets compromised. And then people are sick often. Like right now, we're seeing so many people, major immune compromisation. We could talk about that today too. I have some really great peptide success stories for you guys and the things that you could use. Again, I have to say, not medical advice, even though I'm not your doctor, I'm not an MD, I'm an ND. But there are things that you can try instead. First, do no harm, right? Antibiotics are causing a lot of harm. So this is where also the things like why am I eating a healthy diet? I'm still gaining weight and I still have disease. And this is the number one question that I get from women coming to me. the presence of Wi-Fi right now, especially, causes our cells to go, whoa, wait a minute, back, and it creates what's called a calcium shell. It hardens our body. It prevents the cells from receiving the good stuff that we're supplementing with or consuming in food form, and it retracts it. And then the body goes, well, now I don't know what to do with this. So then our body feels like we're in pain. Our brain stops working. This is how metabolism gets broken. And this is how diabetes starts. This is how cancer, autoimmune disease. So if we fix the root cause of it by reactivating the immune system to work again, for the metabolism to go from broken to unbroken, your brain activates again, everything can communicate again, and your body will lose weight naturally because it knows what to do. And that is the magic of these little miracle molecules known as peptides.
Well, but okay, let's get to the retatrutide again, and then let's get into these other ones. Getting that weight off, though, is really important to then rebalance your body. Once that weight's off, isn't it easier then to fix some of these problems? Because when the weight's on, your body's totally out of whack.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love retatrutide the most. So for me, I had to find my dosing. I'm not even here to lose weight, but there are many women, and of course I work with women and men. Mostly about 80% of the population who cares about their health is women. It's just kind of the nature of who we are.
But
We're
men care about losing freaking weight.
Sure, they do, and they
Sorry,
want
they
us to
care.
look at them. So yes, I have some really good success stories from the men I'm working with who are just taking human growth hormone analogs or also Sloop, and it's just reactivating your hormones again. Yeah, Sloop is amazing. I mean, the one patient that I was just talking about, um, he lost 7 pounds in his first week of taking Sloop. And
Wow.
I could see it in his face, like, because I do every week, and some of your people who are watching have been coming into our membership group, and we do 2 hours every week. And I'm supporting everybody in there with questions they have around peptides or supplements or lifestyle or second or 11th opinion, things where doctors tell them, oh, the only thing that you can do is inject this thing into your eye. I have vegans who are having strokes. Like, what's going on here? Like there's something else going on here, and it's a lack of peptides. So the Sloop is one really good one, which we talked about last time. And it's a pill. You don't need to inject anything, and people have very fast results. I saw his face yesterday during our call. And I said, I could just see it in your face. What happened? What did you do? And he goes, I've just been slooping it. Dog. And I
Well,
was like,
sleep is amazing. Well, doesn't it
yeah,
help build up muscle? It helps
yes.
build. I mean, I'm just so pumped. Now, I got to tell you, I started it and I was tired and then I read some of the clinical studies, and it says that some people have to, your body needs to adjust to it, but
Yes.
it's almost always temporary.
It is. And that's the same thing with GLP-1s. So GLP-1s will also do the same thing. And this is, again, why we start slow and then we work our way up. So to go back to what you asked earlier about retatrutide, and you guys, retatrutide, tirzepatide, and semaglutide in that order are the peptides that I like to use as GLP-1s. And GLP-1s are, like I mentioned, a large percentage of these peptides are made in the gut. And that communicates to your brain, are you hungry or are you full? In the absence of GLP-1s, our brain won't stop, it won't get the signal to stop eating because there is no chemical messenger, a signaling molecule that is known as this GLP-1 peptide that says, okay, we're good, we got enough, because the nutrients are getting into the cells. There's all kinds of things that are broken when we don't have peptides that communicate throughout our body. They're cell signalers. It's like trying to be on a Zoom call without any reception, without any internet. You can't do it. So this is why we need them. And with all of these GLP-1s, the same thing happens, which is why we start low and slow. And I also like to add something that is like a mitochondrial support. Something like a MOTS-C is a really, really good one for mitochondria. And when you have mitochondria, and that's MOTSC, for those of
Hmm.
you who might want to purchase some of these and work on doing a little bit of both, I like to stack one of the GLP-1s and a human growth hormone
I use
analog.
the amino MQ.
5-amino 1MQ.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure. We talked about this, I think maybe one time, but I have my top five favorite peptide hacks and stacks just to get people started on like, wow, I could really feel and see the difference. I love to do the retatrutide and then the 5-amino. And the reason why I like those together is the 5-amino is going to help you build muscle. It's going to help you with hormone regulation, human growth hormone, and increasing it at the same time while you're also losing weight. Because when we lose weight, we're also losing some muscle, right? So all these GLP-1s, why people look so weird with Ozempic and Wegovy and everything, and they get that Ozempic face is because it's breaking down their fat and their muscle. So when you're taking a human growth hormone analog, what's happening is it's actually building the muscle whilst your body is losing weight. So it keeps it at an even gait. And then that's a lot of work for your body. So I like to recommend having something like a MOTS-C for healthy levels of mitochondria. Mitochondria is basically, bottom line, it's your body making energy. And I see most people are just flatlined. So it's
Yeah.
really important to just go low and slow with retatrutide. I start people at like 0.25 and then I
Really?
work
Because
on.
I've been taking 3 milligrams.
I know. Well, I mean,
You think it's too, I mean, I'm just, because that's what, I went on to ChatGPT and that's what it recommended. Well, it didn't recommend it. I looked at the studies and actually 6 milligrams is what the studies were the most effective. And I'm
yeah,
like,
me
that's too
too.
high. So I did 3 milligrams.
Yep, and I do too. I do. I mean, I'm meaning I do also. I do two. I do low. So for some people, I work with a lot of sensitive people. So for people whose bodies have been, and you're pretty healthy, Sarah. So we got to think about like our average person listening. They haven't been exposed to as much of this as you have. And so what happens is if the recommended, you might see Chat GPT say start at 0.5 milligrams. And you guys might be like, what does that even mean? And Sarah and I are going to have an invitation for you guys. So just with math tends to tune people out, but don't worry, we're going to teach you guys exactly how to do this because it's really simple once you get the hang of it. But for those of you who are using GLP-1s out there, you might know what we're talking about when we say 2 milligrams is way too high for a semaglutide. Now, a retatrutide is a totally different GLP-1, right? So it's different. But zero point 0.5 is the air quotes starting dose that some might talk about. But I work with a lot of very sick people. And so I'll start them off with 0.25. And then if that's
That
okay,
makes
the
sense.
next day, next day go to 0.5. And if you don't even feel a difference, then I might say, okay, let's go up to one. Let's double it.
Until you keep feeling, it's better to start low and build up than to do what I did and go right to a chat because that's my
Yeah.
that's my personality, okay? I'm like, what is the best? I'm starting there. That was
Yeah,
stupid, okay? You don't do that.
that was stupid.
Well, I mean, being an athlete and doing all these things, I'm just gonna do what is the most,
Yeah.
hardcore. I can handle it. No, I couldn't. You want to
Right?
start, yeah, no. But the other thing that makes it work is that, and because I have a chart that I publish on my Substack of the differences between all of them, this one burns fat. The other ones just decrease your appetite.
Exactly. You're talking about red true Ted, right?
Yes,
Yeah, it's a
that's
triagonist.
huge
That's why I
difference.
love it so much. In fact, one time when I wouldn't even say overdose. I just, when I did three, I was like, I'm not hungry all day. And that's not good because I worked out as anybody who's taking a GLP-1 should absolutely be doing some resistance training. And I used to be a professional bikini competitor and bodybuilder and pro soccer player. So I know my metabolism and I know what a healthy metabolism is. I'm not saying that to impress you guys. I'm saying it to share my experience with how in tune I am with my body after a workout where you're using really heavy weights and you're sweating and you should be sweating. This is another big problem that we have. 20% of your detox happens through sweating. And I would tell you, Sarah, 95% of people today don't sweat. And they just go, well, my body just doesn't sweat, or I hate sweating. And I'm like, that's like not pooping. No wonder why your skin is so rashed out. No wonder why you can't lose weight. No wonder why you don't feel well and your brain fog is always present. No wonder why you can't sleep throughout the night. Our body needs to let go of toxins that are water soluble through the skin. But anyway, back to metabolism. I was done with my workout, and this is probably at 4 o'clock, and all I had all day was like my bulletproof like coffee in the morning with some collagen peptides in it. And I was like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, still not hungry. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, not hungry, not good. because after a workout, your body has broken down all of your muscles and you should be craving protein to
Yep.
repair those muscles. And I was like, okay, I took too much. I'm going to back it off. So this is the kind of support that people need when they're taking GLP-1s or human growth hormone analogs, because you just don't even know what to expect. And I've been biohacking for so long that I can listen to people and go, okay, now let's dial this up or dial this down. But the bottom line we want you guys to hear right now is that it really is important if you're going to take a GLP-1 to A, work with a doctor, B, work very low and slow, and C, have a human growth hormone analog that can support the maintenance and or building of your muscle tonality, because you don't want to lose that. And then that's when people start to feel even worse when they're taking a GLP-1.
Yeah, and you need to make sure you're getting your nutrients for sure. Okay, so there's some other ones that are really amazing that I've been talking about for anti-aging, but you also talked about thyroid. What do you want to talk about that is some of the people have more common needs out there? I like the anti-aging because, I'm in that age group where I'm like, I don't want to look older, but there are other more, prominent needs that people have, and there's peptides that are just absolutely incredible.
Yes. Well, which one did you want to talk about? I'm just wondering if,
Well, let's talk about, okay, I'd probably say the number one need right now in the world that we're in today is stress,
yes,
right?
like brain stress, brain overwhelm.
I think that people have anxiety. Well, I think EMFs cause part of the anxiety. And I have some EMF protection stuff, with like Lila Q and other things that are phenomenal. And you have to be doing that. But the stress is over freaking whelming. It's overwhelming for me, and I'm in the front line of all this stuff getting attacked every day. But
Yep.
I know that people are, at work, they're trying to make ends meet, and it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've been watching people's brains, unfortunately, just deteriorate before my eyes. And it's hard to watch, because I feel like we are so overwhelmed, bombarded with information and toxins, and people haven't been taught how to take care of their body on a regular basis. And so unfortunately, the reality of, the work that I do, and I've been doing lab testing for 15 years, where we ship labs to our patients and we start with an analysis of how toxic is your body. And that's really important to understand, because the more toxic that you are, the more I mean, everything starts with toxicity. I don't care what they say about, genetics and age. Sure, all those things happen, but toxins are the number one reason that we are so sick today, because, and on top of that, that we're not taught how to clear them. So supporting your immune system, which is basically in your gut, to have the soldiers and the warriors that you need to essentially go, oh, that's a bug. Okay, I know how to clear you. Oh, that's a toxin. I know what to do with you. We need a strong immune system for that. And most people are exhausted. And if you have brain fog, I can tell you right now, you have a very poor functioning immune system. And the hope is that we could rebuild that, and we could rebuild it very, very quickly with peptides. Because I've been doing this for 15 years, it used to take me about 3 months. And I'd work with patients and we'd do a supplement protocol, and like eliminating certain foods from their diet and cleaning up their water and getting them moving, getting them sunshine or whatever. And it would just take 3 months. They're like, I'm good. Then around COVID time, it took about 6 months. And then the last couple of years, I'm like, wow, it's taking a year, and people don't have
Wow.
the time, the money, the energy, the patience for it, right? Then along came peptides, and now we're seeing people heal literally things in a week, get rid of symptoms in a month, get rid of diseases that they've had forever, 2 months, 3 months. So peptides have accelerated these things, and copper peptides is one of them. BPC is another one. I mean, those are two. If you want to talk about that plus a thymosin, your body tissues need help. They need healing. They need love, and that is exactly what those three specifically do. And on top of that, while you're getting rid of your body pain or your joint pain, your chronic issues that you're being told that you need a surgery for, all of a sudden your skin looks more radiant, your hair's growing back, and you feel better. And you're like, what? Wait a second. All I was trying to do is fix my shoulder pain. And then it becomes like an anti-aging regenerative protocol where you start looking at your skin and seeing major improvements. And I tell my patients all the time, we heal your skin within, which is what those peptides will do, and then you heal your skin without. There is no cream you can put on your face or your skin that is going to do what peptides can do on the inside. And peptides are just naturally occurring molecules that we make, but we haven't had the energy to, because we're so exhausted and toxic. So that's really my favorite. I love copper peptides.
And like
Do you want to go to beauty?
GHK,
Copper.
yeah, the CU, right? GHKCU is a copper peptide. That's one that I've been promoting or telling people about because in the studies, it had a collagen increase of 70% and elastin of 35%, right? I mean, those two things help with wound healing, your joints, your skin, like literally everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what I'll tell you is I used to have I used to have a collagen peptide protein powder product, right? And sure, I'd see some benefits of it. I would see it. But when I started switching to just straight peptides and just straight copper peptides, I like them intranasally the best, which it looks like this. I'm not traveling with any right now because I don't have a fridge, but I'm traveling. But this is an intranasal administration. So just a couple sprays up each nostril. We'll teach you guys how to do that. Um, but that's a really great, easy way to get copper peptides into your body. You could also inject them. It burns a little bit if you're okay with that, if you're okay with injections. But my favorite way, Sarah, and I don't know if did I send you this? I can't remember if I did. My favorite beauty hack routine, and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on med spa treatments. Made a movie with David Icke called Dying to be Beautiful, and then had an event called the Non-Toxic Beauty Summit. My book is called Killer Breasts. So I've been through the ringer of what toxic beauty is and what beauty is not because of what toxic beauty does to the inside of you. And Botox paralyzes your nerves. They don't come back. Breast implants, they cut some muscles above your pectoral, one of the pectoral muscles. They don't grow back. They don't tell you that they have all the diseases that they cause. And so I'm out here just telling people, here's what toxic beauty does to people. They go, well, what do I do instead? So for the last 6, 7 years, I've been researching this stuff and diving into peptides. My favorite protocol now is you could do it at home. You could do it super easy. I can show you guys this later too. Like Sarah and I are going to have a little event. You guys can come. Copper peptides, you pull them out with a little needle after you've activated it. And don't worry, this one you won't inject. But what you do is you do something called dermal rolling. Do you do that yet, Sarah?
No.
So dermal
I
rolling,
will once I understand it more.
yeah, it's awesome. And it's really easy to do. You can get your own dermal roller at home. We can talk about that later on. Um, and you dermal roll for about 5 minutes. Essentially, it's poking just little tiny
Yep.
puncture holes in your skin. It doesn't hurt. I mean, just a little like prick, 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 prick. And you do it for about 5 minutes. So now you've sort of like injured the skin. So your skin is going, I'm inflamed, I'm inflamed, and it's looking for healing. It's an accelerated way to get the peptides into your skin. So you do little dermal rolling, and then you take like a serum, like a beauty serum. I love Ramon, and I get my little serum, and then you can put like 4 or 5 drops of the blue copper peptide into your hands, and then you just put it all over your face. DMSO is a really great way to get it across the membrane, so you could use that also, or a serum. And then after you do that, and it burns in a really nice way, and then you put some red lights on your face, some infrared red lights, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, wow, I feel like I just went to a med spa, but I did it myself, and I saved myself
Wow.
$5.
Because I know that you can go get microneedling, right? Which is the same. Essentially, you're saying here's a microneedling kind of process. You know, microneedling does those small holes, and then a lot of times you put some kind of serum in there, make sure the anti-inflammation, get the serum in, and that generates collagen, and that stuff works. The
It
microneedling
does.
freaking works. So this is an at-home regimen that's a heck of a lot cheaper that does maybe even better. Maybe, well, it depends on who you use as a microneedling and whether they use peptides or not.
I agree. And a lot of, I'll say this, when I did the non-toxic beauty summit, I had invited 35 people who were what I knew were experts in non-toxic beauty. And Sarah, half of the people I interviewed, including naturopathic doctors, were using Botox and injectables in their practices. And I went, oh, hell no.
And when you say injectables, you're not talking injectables like a peptide. You're talking like
Thank you.
serums that they put in their face and it stays there for months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forever. I mean, we don't know. And here's the thing with this is the danger of the beauty industry, you guys. And this is what's so cool is if you start using copper peptides on your face, you will start to see other parts of your body heal. Like you might feel your peripheral knee injury is all of a sudden no longer inflamed. You're like, wait a
That's
minute,
cool.
my gait's different. And all I was doing was trying to look younger. So that's
That's
what's so great
cool.
about peptides is you can go after beauty, energy, immunity, vitality all at the same time. And there's, I mean, there's so many other ones too, but copper peptides are amazing. I used a lot of them before and after my back surgery, and I recommend them to a lot of my patients who are having their explant surgery or if they're having any surgery at all, because it accelerates wound healing and tissue recovery, and it turns over the tissues very quickly so you don't get scarring. Or if you do have scarring from, like, I had cystic acne, I took Accutane twice. It's chemo, you guys. Instead of Accutane, you could do this, what I'm talking about. And you could
Oh,
do some,
wow.
yeah, and you could do
So
some
like my daughter who has, she has she gets it with stress. She'll get like redness and things. And so dermatologists are having a heck of a time helping her. I bet you this would help her.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm guessing you're talking about rosacea, right? Where
It's
it's
a
just,
rosacea and it's a
yeah.
rosacea, but it gets kind of bad and inflamed, especially when she's stressed out. And that's really common.
Yeah. Well, I would look at her diet. I mean, certain things we're talking about here, you guys. Now listen, I can say things all day long, like, hey, gluten and dairy, those are the top two inflammatory things that will show up on your skin because your gut is your inside skin. So whatever we eat affects and hits and inflames your skin inside, and then it shows up on your skin outside. So this is what I mean. Literally, since I was 18 years old, I was on doxycycline, tetracycline, all the things until I was like, okay, enough. I have cystic acne. I look like a pizza face. I'm in college. I'm 19 years old, and I'm
It's awful.
insecure. You know, it's
Yes, it
terrible.
was. I don't care what it's now, but I did when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
I'm like happy when I know this sounds stupid, but I'm like, oh, I'm young enough to have is it. I know it sounds stupid, but I like it doesn't bother me the same way. I'm kind of like, oh, I still have some oils going on.
Yeah, true. Or for me, if I get a zit now and it hurts, that's a cystic acne, and that's because I had dairy. You know,
Oh,
and
okay.
which I knew back then that the dorm food I was eating was causing my cystic acne. But I'm just saying that I've been experienced in skin issues and I still have scarring. And so what I've been doing is dermal rolling and then copper peptides right over it. And it's getting rid of the scarring. Whereas I took many, many other things. I did a lot of PRP and things, and that's very expensive and didn't get rid of the cystic acne. The rosacea I used to have as well. That can come from small intestine bacterial overgrowth, which I will tell you that another peptide that I am so excited about right now that I've been using for a year, but lately I've been trying it for different things. So it's called LL37. And what this one is it gets rid of the nasty bacteria or other pathogens in your gut and in your body systemically. So an LL37 is something that I recommend to patients who, when I do their stool testing, it might show it's something called dysbiosis, where you have either really low or really high levels of healthy bacteria. And so it just means it's all over the place. We would like to see everything kind of in the middle. And I
Balanced.
don't know if yeah, exactly balanced. And maybe we talked about this before, Sarah, but they did a study on people who got the COVID shot and found that pretty much all of their bifidobacteria was wiped out. And that bifidobacteria
Oh,
is 80% of our immune system that builds our immune system by the time we're 2 years old. So what is happening in our world is like glyphosate, pesticides, herbicides, they're antibiotics. And that kills. Antibiotics means
oh, that makes
against
sense.
life. Yeah, kills your gut
We're
flora.
surrounded by antibiotics. I didn't,
We are.
you're the first one that's told me that.
Yeah, and it's really sad because
Very interesting.
kids at school are eating these diets full of antibiotics, and we're literally taking anti-life, eating anti-life, taking
Oh,
medication,
that's too bad.
anti-life all day long, right? So what LL37 does, combined with probiotics and I would say eating healthy fibers and things, but if you guys are just at the point where you're like, Diane, I'm not going to stop my food addictions. Just start with some peptides, okay? I
Well,
will.
that's
That's
most of
what you do.
us, right? I mean, because
Most
most
of
of us
us.
are like, God, I want to live my life. I want to have a freaking bonbon once in a while. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I
cool.
want to
You're
sit
like,
on
all right,
my
cool.
butt and eat once in a while.
Yeah, and it's fine. You can treat yourself once in a while. You know, for me, the other day I was with my boyfriend and he said something like, wow, I noticed that you ate that and you didn't have a reaction. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I didn't have a reaction. And I didn't have a hangover the next day either. You know, we had like two or three, whatever, how we shared a bottle of wine. And the next day I was like, I don't have a hangover. Like, what did I do? What did I do right? And I realized it was because I had been taking LL37 more than usual. So what that's going to do is it's going to bump up your healthy flora. It's going to chase out the bad flora. And then also the things that it can do is E. coli. E. coli is the number one bacteria that I see on stool tests, and that's we get that from food poisoning. Whenever someone says I have food poisoning, it's also something that drains your immune system and it hangs out for a long time. It is also the number one cause for a urinary tract
Oh,
infection.
wow. Okay.
This is where a lot of older ladies or people are in and this is what's so sad, Sarah. I hear this story. I heard it since COVID a lot. Well, my grandma or my mom was in the hospital and she got a really bad UTI, and then they put her on another round of antibiotics, and they put her on another round of antibiotic, and then she died. Why? Because they killed all of her soldiers and now she had no immune system left. That's how we
Oh,
die.
that's sad. Well, this is just nonsense. Well, you can tell you really know your stuff. So we're going to do a seminar.
Hmm.
And because people, I get questions all the time. How do you take this? How do you take that? And I'm like, well, join Diane's tribe and you can ask all the questions you want. But I think that we came to the conclusion doing a seminar where you bring people and you're going to show them
Yes,
how to do the nasal spray, how to do the injections, when the capsules are good. So people get a good idea. I think this will help everybody who is interested in looking into taking a peptide. And it's best to, if you're interested in a peptide, it's best to order it now and then come ready at the seminar so that you are ready to learn about how to take it, right? Or,
absolutely.
I mean, that's a really good idea. Or they can come to the seminar and order at the seminar once they understand what to order. But a
Yeah,
lot of people are sitting there with like a retatrutide and they don't know what to do. Or they're sitting there.
exactly.
I mean, I'm getting a ton of that. So this will help. When is the seminar and how do
Mhm.
people join?
Yeah, I think we're doing it March 11th is what date was a Tuesday. March 11th is what we decided based on our crazy fun schedule. So we have all of that set up. March 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern time, which is 3 p.m. Pacific time. And I want to be on with you guys for 90 minutes because I mean, just to kind of wrap up what I was saying with the LL37 as an example. Um, this is how significant these peptides are at literally saving your life from not going down a path that would steal it with all of these antibiotics and all of this. It's just nonsense that the stories that I hear all day long from patients, you guys would cry. And that's why I show up to talk with Sarah because there's so much hope in peptides. I had a UTI last week and I just said, I wonder if I took some LL37 because usually if they get so bad, I end up needing to, air quotes, needing to take some sort of antibiotic, like a low dose one. But what I did is I took a little bit of coconut oil and I added 3 drops of LL37 that was already reconstituted. And we'll teach you guys how to do that on the seminar. And I applied it topically to my feminine parts. UTI went away. I did
Wow.
BPC, thymosin alpha, which we'll talk more about that. These are the things I did that the night before. And I woke up with no more UTI. And you guys, I've been suffering from UTI since I was 18 years old, since I took that damn Accutane because it's chemo.
Oh,
And
that's too
this is
bad.
how
It's really too bad.
it sucks. And I know so many of you who are out there and you don't know why you're sick. You don't know why you're suffering with symptoms. So we could reverse all of this very quickly. I'm not making any guarantees. I'm just saying that I've been seeing miracles in myself and my practice with our patients. So March 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Sarah and I are going to hop on for 90 minutes with you guys and just help you because I get that question all the time. I got my peptides, now what? Or I get my supplements, now what do I do, right? And we want it's no, all this information is no good unless you guys know how to do it, how to apply it, for how long, what to expect, and maybe what things to stack them into. So like if you want aging, anti-aging, you go after copper. Also helps to heal internal tissue and scarring so that you have less pain. You know, if you want to get rid of your body pain or to maybe even prevent a surgery, it's BPC 157. If you struggle with immune system issues or chronic inflammation, that would be one of the thymosin alpha, thymosin alpha 1 or TB500. TB500 is more for the inflammation. Thymosin alpha 1 is more if you have an immune system issue. I got rid of my Hashimoto's. You can get rid of MS. You can get rid of all of it. You guys, it's a lie that it's hereditary that you just get cancer. It's just hereditary that you just get autoimmune disease. It's just hereditary that you're overweight. No, no. This is where we're both drawing the line here and saying no. We could uncover all of this and recover all of this. If you have infections or if you're somebody who has been sick often, like the last year or so, or maybe you got COVID a lot, whatever that means, right? Get yourself some LL37. And those are the things that can help with urinary tract infections as well. If you want to build some muscle, Sarah and I talked about 5-amino 1MQ. If you want to do, well, Sloop is probably still out of stock because of our last success with the show that we had.
Well, Sloop is
Um,
something everybody could get on. I mean, the
Yeah.
bodybuilders, the athletes, everyone is wanting Sloop. That's why it's sold out so quickly. And you don't have, if you don't have to lose weight, you still do it to keep your body at a lower level. You do it to stay healthy. It's an
Yeah.
incredible product.
It really is. And it just does so many things. So it's a good way to start. And that's kind of why like these peptides that I'm starting with right now, you guys, it's a great way to start because you will feel these ones and you will see the difference immediately. It's way different than like supplements where you're like, I kind of feel a difference, but I'm spending $500 a month. And I'm just doing it because someone on a podcast told me to take it, right? But when you start taking the ones that also are helping with like sleep too, if you guys want help with sleep, there's peptides for that. If you want to feel more loving, there's, get out some oxytocin. So there's things that you can do for every single issue that you have. There is a peptide for that.
It's absolutely incredible, Diane. And I wouldn't have believed this until I actually did it myself. I mean, I would believe it, whatever. But when I started, I was like, holy crap, this is
Yeah.
really powerful stuff. I'm
Yeah.
excited about it, and like I said, I've talked to people in the medical field who said this is the holy grail and they haven't been allowing this forward. These are
You're right.
medical doctor, people saying this is not just naturopaths who already know it. You already know it, but they're starting to figure it out too. And there's this big upheaval going on.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I work with MDs, and so whenever I come on here and I talk about the system, it's I'm not I'm not wanting to bash doctors because they went in with good intentions. And I think that this is also another really beautiful thing for them because they're like, wait a minute, these are the good intentions that I came here for.
That's right.
It's almost like there's a blessing of seeing the dark side of Ozempic and Wegovy and Mounjaro and all the other ones. There's a dark side to it, and the dark side is that the doctors are seeing that you can't just recommend something and then let them go. They need to oversee and supervise their whole life.
Yeah, but
And
I want to make sure they don't take, Big Pharma doesn't take all these over, make it
agreed.
super expensive, add a bunch of crap to it, and then the
Yep.
medical doctors are the only ones who can prescribe it, and they're just cranking it out and making a fortune.
I
That's
agree.
what they do on so many things. I really hope they keep this free so that people can afford it. As soon as they take it over, people won't be able to afford it anymore.
And you have a great point again, Sarah. So the cost, if you wanted to do Ozempic as an example, it's going to run you about 1,500 a month. And even if it was
1,500.
1,500 a month, when you come to our seminar, I mean, whether or not you decide, you can get, if you'd like to get the retatrutide, Sarah will put her links below. And because of the oversight of the three-letter cyber organizations, you can't buy these things just out there. You have to actually put your name and email address in for this little VIP section. It's not my VIP section, not my group, but it's the company whose peptides we love, who have the certificate of purification and analysis. They're very professional. I just signed up a whole big regenerative clinic with them because I'm teaching people out there that these are very pure peptides. Most of them don't have the certificate of analysis. Do not buy those peptides. So what I'm saying is if you guys want to, let's say, show up to the seminar or the webinar, and you're like, hey, I got the retatrutide. I want to be like Sarah and Diane. And you got it, right? Yay. The way you get it is you have to just put your name and email address, then it's behind the paywall in the VIP section. And that's because the FDA, we have to do that. So once you get it, then we will teach you exactly what to do to how to administer it and everything else. You might also notice if you're somebody who wants to lose weight, but you have like sleep issues, the one I didn't circle back on is it's called DSIP, DSIP. That's another really good one that can help to boost your genes that can release and cell signal the release of melatonin, which is a hormone that makes us fall asleep and stay asleep. And that, by the way, is what washes your brain out and prevents you from getting cancer. It's a powerful antioxidant.
Now, do
So,
you take that just at night, like the D sip?
yep,
Just because if you take it in the morning, would you be tired all day?
probably. Yeah.
So
I
you
mean,
take it
everybody,
at night. It's some of these things you take it. There's certain ones you take at night because that's when you're
yeah.
regenerating, and other ones you take in the morning.
And you know what? Even for people who don't have sleep issues per se, but maybe you've had cancer, or maybe air quotes, cancer runs in the family, which really is biology. More than anything, more than genetics, it's biology. We pass down toxins and bugs and like lifestyle behavior, thoughts, ancestral trauma. But anyway, DSIP is not just for people who have sleep issues. I'll see somebody's hormone test and go, geez, you have like literally no melatonin. And they're like, but I sleep fine. And I'm like, yeah, but melatonin is a very powerful hormone that literally washes your brain. So this is why you probably have brain fog. And I'll give them some DSIP and they're like, my brain's back on board. And by the way, I'm dreaming. I didn't even notice I wasn't sleeping that deep. So we just don't know how good we can feel until we start turning these things back on again. And I've never been so excited in my life about
No.
anything as a practitioner or even just as a guide and a leader and doing service in this world. So while we have it, you guys, join us on March 11th because like Sarah said, we have no idea how long these are going to be available to us. I think it's a miracle that they are. I'm like, this is a dream come true that they are. They are possibly going to be taking away BPC, which is if you have,
Mm.
knee injuries or shoulder injuries, if you have had a surgery before, or if you're like me, I had a back surgery or Achilles tendon surgery. I played professional soccer, so I'm all banged up. So I just inject myself wherever I have scar tissue or it still feels a little bit of inflammation or pain with BPC and with copper and with thymosin 500, TB 500. And my body's just never felt so young and so agile. And you guys can have the same thing. And they want to, the word on the street is that BPC is already starting to be manufactured by something that Eli Lilly has down the path. So while we can get it, let's get it. I'm stacking
Well,
up
then it'll
on.
be like 10 times more. You won't be able to
Yep.
get it. Hardly anybody will accept somebody that's in therapy for athletes, or if you have an injury, will get it and it'll be off the market.
You got it, Sarah. And that's exactly the thing is that right now you guys can get Retatrutide. You can get like a 1 month supply for less than $100, but they're happy to sell it to you for 1,500. I mean, it's insane. This is how we take our power back. This is what Bobby Kennedy and everybody's talking about. Bobby Kennedy said, I am all for the completing this suppression of amazing things like peptides or psychedelics or stem cell therapy, all of which I've been doing since I was 18 years old. Like even, psilocybin, that's a whole nother topic,
That's
magic
right.
mushrooms. But so many of these things have helped me to heal myself, heal my patients. And if you guys want to jump on the bandwagon with any of these things, I just urge you to think of 3 things you heard today. Think of 3 things that you went, okay, it's totally me. I get migraines, or I have a lot of body pain, or I don't sleep well. And you could rewind it and you could hear, what did Diane say? What did Dr. Kazer say again about sleep? What did Sarah say about beauty? Which peptide was that? So you can slow that down. It's, we said pretty much all of them. And Sarah, if you want, you could put a list of the ones that we kind of highlighted today so people can know. And then we'll teach you exactly how to put it into your life and then stack other things on top of it too. So you could be your own med spa, you could be your own best doctor, you could save a ton of money. Because I know the average female spends over $3,000 a year on toxic beauty. You don't have to do anymore.
No, and you can be healthier. And you said that eventually after you get yourself dialed in, you get past your issues, the maintenance might be a few $100s a month,
Yes.
depending on what each person needs a little bit different. But that's probably realistically what you need.
Yeah, because these peptides are reactivating what your body already knows how to do.
Hmm.
It's essentially saying, we're going to bring you back to God's original design.
This is God's work. I mean, it's that powerful. These things work that good that it feels really light and good. I mean,
It,
that's how I'm excited about it. It just feels different. Thank you
yeah.
so much, Diane. And the seminar will be March 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll have links below for the seminar. And you can also go to sarahwestall.com. You can find it there. And I'm very excited to be on this journey with you because I know that this is really going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, and it is truly God's work. And because of that, it feels good. And hopefully you guys hear this too, and you hear hope in your heart. Share it with your friends, share it with people who have been trying everything, because really that's who ends up here and who says, I have tried everything and I've never heard of this, or I've never tried this, and I've never had this fast and rapid success while I also feel good. Because many people will have success and losing weight, but they feel like crap. And it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to poison yourself to feel good anymore, to numb out your symptoms with medications that are toxic. You can feel good and activate your body to continue to feel good and maybe even live beyond 100, still feeling good.
I mean, that's the goal, right? Is it's not so that we can live forever, but it's so that you can feel really good living to as long as you can,
And look
right?
good while you're doing it.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you, Diane. You have an amazing day, and until next time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sarah. See you guys all on March 11th.